Yo, what's good everyone? In today's video, we are gonna see how the cameras on the OnePlus 9 Pro compare to the Samsung Galaxy S21. Now I know most people are not comparing these two and they want to see how the 9 Pro compares to the S21 Ultra. And there's already a ton of videos out there comparing this phone to Samsung's best. So let's see if the best device from OnePlus can beat the cheapest S21. So in this first part of the video, I will be showing you guys side-by-side comparisons, but I won't say which phone took the shots. So get out a piece of paper and a pen and write down which shot you liked out of the set and which device you think took that shot. I've seen a lot of these comparison videos where the reviewers are just looking at the photos in their full size and they're not zooming in on the details. But we're photographers, right? So as photographers, we love to pixel peep. So in the second part of this video, I will be zooming in 100% on each of the photos, picking apart the details, looking at the shadows, the highlights, the exposures, and really figuring out the differences between these two camera systems. As we go through these, I'm going to try to be as technical and unbiased as possible because I really do believe that both of these devices have top-tier camera systems. Now before we get to the blind comparisons, let me know in the comments below which phone you think will win. Then at the end of the video, let's see if you were right. Okay, so a lot of those images looked pretty similar, right? Some of them it was really hard to tell which one was better because they're all just so good. But now let's dive into Lightroom and really look at the details. This first set is of these KAWS statues in front of this building. Right off the bat, you can see that the white balance is way different. The Samsung shot on the right is much warmer and slightly darker in exposure. Zooming in on the center of the images, you can see the differences better. As we are going through these images, keep in mind that these devices have different sensors and optics, so zooming in at 100% on both photos will still yield different framing. So even though one phone might look like it's zoomed in more than the other, they are both at 100%, so we are pixel peeping at the same level. Give this video a thumbs up for pixel peeping. Then as we look closer, in the right image, you can notice some red fringing on the left edge of the hand. The image on the left is clean. Now as we move further down the frame, you can notice significant differences in sharpness. Look at the grass and the sidewalk. The Samsung shot almost looks out of focus. However, the OnePlus shot looks over-sharpened. So the ideal image would be somewhere between the two. I much prefer, but overall, I prefer the OnePlus shot because the colors are more natural and closer to reality. The Samsung one is just too warm. Alright, so this is the shot of the same scene, except it's using the telephoto lenses on both phones. And just like the last set, the OnePlus is on the left and Samsung is on the right. You can see the same differences in color temperature here. However, when zooming in, you can see the red fringing on the OnePlus image this time, while the Samsung one is clean. The sharpness in both look really natural. I am really surprised by that because I thought the OnePlus would still be over-sharpened. So it looks like the telephoto performance on both of these phones are pretty similar. This set surprised me because the shots look almost identical in exposure, white balance, and color reproduction. This shot is a great example of just how close in performance the main cameras are. But as we zoom in, once again the OnePlus image looks to be over-sharpened. It is most noticeable in the outlines of the brick wall and the electrical box. But as we move along to the right side of the frame, I much prefer the colors on the OnePlus shot. Pay attention to the differences of the colors in the mural. But both are beautiful shots and capture the scene exactly how it was when I was looking at it. Now this next set is a great scene to test out the dynamic range and HDR capabilities of each device. On the left, we have the OnePlus with Samsung on the right. At a glance, it looks like there are differences in exposure and dynamic range. The image on the left looks to be slightly underexposed with more contrast and punchier colors. The image on the right looks to be a bit overexposed with more details and a flatter image overall. But looking at these shots side by side, I think both are beautiful. Remember that these comparison videos are very subjective. So again, I'm just going to try to cover the technicals. That way you can make an informed decision. Alright, so zooming in reveals a lot more. You can see the Samsung shot has so much more detail in the shadows. Look at how many buildings you can see in the Samsung one versus the smudge of buildings in the OnePlus. However, as we move down the frame, you can see a green flare in the image on the right. This causes a weird tint to the image that isn't present on the left one. Now as we move across the frame to the other side, the OnePlus shot looks like there's more depth and detail in the water. Just look at the refractions from the sun. The highlights are much hotter, while the Samsung image is flatter. This is probably due to Samsung's strong HDR algorithm, where they try to retain as much detail as possible from those highlights. That's why the image overall looks flatter, because the highlights are brought back and the shadows are brought up. This set is taken with the telephoto lenses on both cameras. Looking at it like this, they both look really similar. But once again, zooming in reveals some of that detail that you wouldn't have noticed otherwise. Pay attention to the texture on the wall and how the sunlight is hitting this metallic paint. The Samsung shot looks way over sharpened and overexposed. As we move up to the red splotch, you can see the differences even more. The red color in the OnePlus shot retains that texture of the wall, while the red in the Samsung is too bright, almost neon. Again, the shots are so similar, and I doubt anyone would be able to pick out the differences unless they have a really good eye. Alright, so if you're still watching, I really appreciate that. I know this video isn't the most exciting one, but I really wanted to create a comparison video where we can really dive in deep and pick apart these images. Because at the end of the day, if you're someone who's spending almost $1,000 or maybe even more on a new device, don't you want to know what you're getting for your money? Now I think these next couple of low light and nighttime photos will really surprise you, because I didn't even believe them and I was the one who took them. Now this set is taken in blue hour, roughly half an hour after the sun set. I love both of these images, and I am really surprised by how a phone can reproduce this kind of shot with just a click of a button. At a glance, the OnePlus image on the right has a bit more contrast, and the reflections look a bit brighter. And as we zoom in, you can see slightly more detail in the buildings on the right, because the lights in the image on the left have more bloom. Bloom is that glowy effect that you see around bright sources of light. Naturally, every lens has a bit of bloom unless you stop down. But it's a common trend for people to use filters like Pro Mist to enhance that bloom, to give it a more aesthetic effect. So in this case, you're losing out on some of that detail due to the bloom, but some people may like that look. I also think the color on the OnePlus is more pleasing. Pay attention to the colors of the lights in the buildings. It has more of an orange-red hue compared to the yellow hue in the Samsung image. Lastly, as we move up in the frame, you can see a lot more noise in the Samsung shot, versus the sky in the OnePlus shot is a lot cleaner. So it means that for that specific image, the OnePlus 9 Pro had a more effective noise reduction algorithm and better HDR. I'm really surprised because traditionally OnePlus phones have not been good at low light, and to see that clean of an image come out of the OnePlus 9 Pro just goes to show how much better these cameras have gotten. Now this set is taken way after sunset when it was pretty much dark out. I used the ultra wide cameras on both devices as well as night mode on both. And right off the bat, you can see a drastic difference between the two. Focus on the trademark sign in the middle of the frame. The OnePlus shot on the left is much clearer with less noise and more contrast. Moving down to the grassy area, you can make out the texture in the grass, and you can even see individual strands of weeds on the left, while the image on the right is just a blurry mess. Again, I'm being super critical, but both of these nighttime shots are unbelievable coming out of a phone camera. Computational photography has come such a long way, and it has really changed the game for small sensors. But although the OnePlus shot has more detail, I like the way the Samsung handled the colors in the neon sign. The red is much deeper compared to the more orange tones in the OnePlus image, and the highlights are not as blown out. But zooming into the Pepsi bottle is what impressed me the most. In the left image, you can actually make out the Pepsi logo and distinguish between the red, white, and blue sections. On the right image, it is much softer and has nowhere near that level of detail. These videos take a ton of time to create, and I'm trying to provide the most value to you guys without wasting anyone's time. If you like this video, please hit that thumbs up, and if you want to support my channel, definitely subscribe. Alright, so did you guess correctly? Which phone do you think did better? I think out of all of these shots, not a single one was bad. I was consistently impressed by the images coming out of both devices. That just goes to show how far these cameras have come and that OnePlus is really taking photography seriously. Both of these devices have been updated to the latest patch as of recording this video. The Samsung S21 has the April security patch, while the OnePlus is on the March one. So hopefully this video can help you make an informed decision on whether or not you want to buy the Samsung S21 or the OnePlus 9 Pro. Keep in mind the camera systems on the S21 are the same as on the S21 Plus. Only the Ultra has its own set of cameras. I am still working on the full in-depth camera review for the OnePlus 9 Pro. That video got pushed out a bit because of the upcoming April patch. It is rumored to drastically improve camera performance, so I want to be able to thoroughly test it out and give you guys an honest review. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments below. I try to reply to everyone. Thanks for watching. Peace.